Hey everybody, and welcome back to another book review. Sorry about that. But this is a really great book, and I was so very excited to continue hanging out in the Grishaverse with this series, and that is, the book is called Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. It is the second in the Six of Crows series, the duology that comes after the Shadow and Bone series. And it was just really good. I know in the back of the book it had kind of like an interview with the author, and she talked about the fact that she was on a time crunch and she felt like that she was being rushed, and she didn't want to really kind of rush the story, if you will. And I really don't think she did that. I thought it was really well done. I think I said this in the last review about Six of Crows, but I really like that the story is told from all the main characters' perspectives, and that it's very episodic. Like really, you could break the two books. Like if you put the two books together, you could break them into like three episodes, like three, hour and a half episodes, because they're just so very episodic. They have ebbs and flows. There were really kind of, especially in this one, there's 3 and 7 different things happening all at the same time. You never really know what's the truth and what isn't the truth until the very last minute. I really liked the series. Thought it was well done, well written. Arguably, I like it better than the Shadow and Bone series. And part of it is because having watched the TV show, the cast that they had for the Crows, which is their gang, that they have, the cast is just so good. And as I was reading the book, that's all I could picture. I could only picture those people. And so just like picturing how they either handled the scene in the show, if they had that scene, or how they might have handled it. It was just really, really well done. So I really appreciate the author and the casting directors for the creation of the Shadow and Bone series, even though it was canceled. But to bring those characters to life, like that is, if I ever reread these, that's all I'm going to picture now. There's nothing better than that cast. Like, so good. I also really like, especially in this book, there is even more of a crossover. So I think I mentioned this in the last review as well, of, when you're reading a elongated series that has multiple chunks in the series, a lot of times you have to read them in order, otherwise things don't make sense. And this series, it says that you can start with the Six of Crows duology, but really, like, having finished it, you cannot. You have to read Shadow and Bone first, otherwise nothing makes sense. There's just so much backstory, and then we also got a lot more of the characters from the first series into this one, and there's a lot of connective tissue there. So I was like, you really kind of need to go back and read the first couple books. Otherwise this is not gonna make sense. Which, again, kudos to the author for continuing those characters. I think a lot of times authors kind of forget about the characters after, like, if they do a second wind of the series or something like that, they kind of forget about the original characters. And in this case, definitely not forgotten, all referenced, all really kind of hinting back to the past. I also really like that it is further in the future. So, you have the Shadow and Bone series, which takes place in whatever year it takes place in. And then it's like, I think it's like 2 to 5 years after, sometime around there, that the Six of Crows really kind of comes in. So, like, you have all of this backlash of, we had a huge war, and there's all this stuff, and that's how I wound up here and there, and, like, how all these characters wind up together, and all is affected by this back thing. So yeah, I just really felt like that was really well done. But definitely a situation of, if you do not read Shadow and Bone first, you're going to be lost on a lot of the references. So that is also kind of a warning. So if you're interested in reading this, and again, like I said, Six of Crows, Cricket Kingdom, both of them way better than the first trilogy. Shadow and Bone was great. Shadow and Bone was great. I think I gave them like 3s, maybe. I gave Six of Crows a 4. This one, I'm going to have to give it a 5. I cried. One of the characters, and part of it, again, is because when I'm reading, I'm picturing the actors. One of the characters, I won't say which, but suffers a terrible fate. And the actors, like, picturing what they would have done with that scene. Oh, I started crying. I was like, nope. They're just so good. So yeah, it's just a really great story. I will say, I also really appreciate the world that is created. I feel like a lot of times when we are world creating, in fantasy, it doesn't always come across super well, but this one I really, I get the world, and even having, if we remove the TV show out of it, reading what Leigh Bardugo really pictured for this world, I'm like, I see it, I feel it. It's really, really great. And I felt like, it's a place that you could definitely drop into and just get everything explained to you, and feel comfortable in that world, in that society. Actually, I don't know if I would feel comfortable there, because I don't know if I would be like a normal person or a Grisha. Grisha are people that have different abilities, usually relating to one of the elements or the manipulation of different variations of the elements. And they have different titles and stuff like that. I don't know if it'd be Grisha or not. I would hope it would be Grisha. But even still, I love the way that she uses that also as an explanation of what is going on with the different races, what's going on with the different worlds. I feel like a lot of people, they can get, especially if you are not an author of color, you can get race so very wrong, and I feel like she didn't. I feel like she did a really, really great job of describing characters where it is not a slight to those real ethnicities, and just really well done there. So yeah, great book, great series, 5 out of 5 for the whole duology on this one. So 2 books that are continuing in the Grishaverse, which is the bigger series. I popped my look in the back of this one, discovered there are more books. Yes! So I don't have to leave the Grishaverse. I was really upset that I was like, well, that was the end of that series, and then I saw, I'm like, there's 2 more books. There's 2 more books. So I'm definitely going to have to go find those and read those as well. I'll put them a little lower on the list, though. Really going to try and focus on getting through this list, guys. This list is long now, which kudos to all of you. So I'm going to keep trudging on through that. Hopefully everybody is enjoying a great start to the year, and I will see you all in the next book review. Bye.